Hello ladies and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, Airsoft Al, and welcome of course to another media reviews, or in this case, a sort of pseudo-rapid-fire media review. I say pseudo because I don't want to spoil much of this fanfiction, and it's actually really good. This is a PayPal-sponsored fanfiction. They actually did the $100+ tier for this one, which means that I'm covering the entire damn thing. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mobile Suit Gundam, Giren's Glory. Gihren, for those of you who don't know, is the firstborn son of the Zabi family, and Mobile Suit Gundam, of course, you know Mobile Suit Gundam, you know Mobile Suit Gundam, we all know Mobile Suit Gundam, moving the hell on. This one is a self-insert story, I want to say self-insert because it feels like one. However, of course, you know, it does say Gabi Zeon self-insert, but in my opinion, I think this is more along the lines of an isekai. And I want to go from the parameters of it being an isekai. Now, of course, this abbreviation, well, not really abbreviation, the actual synopsis given on the story itself by the author Kaiser Chris is actually a pretty good one, and I think he kind of missed an opportunity here, in my opinion, humble opinion as a simple critic, of course, a fanfiction critic. One of only two. There is another one from, of course, the same channel and same group of folks that Decker Shadow's a part of. But the synopsis goes as such. The year is Universal Century 00767. The space noids of the colonies live under tyrannical rule of the Earth Federation, every day seeking justice and freedom from the oppression of gravity. One man will rise to the occasion and lead the great crusade under the banner of Zeon. The man is Gihren Zobi. Zig Zeon! Gabi Zabi, Gihren Zabi self-insert. Now, again, I'm not going to say the guy had a missed opportunity. What am I saying? Yes, he did have a missed opportunity, because in the 54 chapters, even though this thing hasn't been updated since fucking December 20th of 2021, he actually created a really cool story here. A legitimately cool idea and concept that, in my opinion, actually helps kind of give a nice alternate history of a what if. What if Gihren Zabi, instead of becoming a sort of, basically the second coming of Adolf goddamn Hitler, actually, more along the lines, kind of went down the route of creating a sort of space Prussia. And he does actually make some cool historical context, and even some very fun historical parallels. And even his own family kind of is wondering, what the fuck? The character is also a devout Christian, and even somehow converts Garma into a Christian as well. Which, then again, this takes place at the beginning of the Origins timeline, which the Origins anime I've yet to see yet. I have seen clips of it. I know of it. I'm going to watch it. I swear to God. But the big thing about it, though, is that it legitimately is a cool, an action-packed, just fun story. Even though it is sort of slow in the sense. Now, the majority, and I do mean a vast chunk of the story, is actually politics. And I mean that. It's legitimately politics. So if politics is not your bag, this is probably not going to be for you. But it's, again, very fun in the sense of it does show a nice alternate what if. Even has some fun little tidbits here and there, including one where apparently Star Wars was still a thing. Not the Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars, thank Christ. George Lucas actually still held on to the fucking franchise into the Gundam universe. But apparently Garma has never seen it, and it led to this funny little interaction that legitimately made me fucking chuckle, and it does a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, I'm not gonna lie. Of course, there have been comments, which, of course, fanfiction.net calls them reviews, basically saying that this story sucks, the story's cringe, he basically spoiled the plot, showing future chapters, even though in every single chapter, at a certain point, we start seeing excerpts from actual literature in the future of the 0100s that kind of analyze the past. And in my opinion, authors who do this as a nice little nuance, in my opinion, kind of showing, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is what the future views this as. It's not the sense of, oh, he's spoiling the story, shut the fuck up on that. It's more of a nuance of, this is how later generations view the past. This is how they believe the past was. This is more or less how they analyze it and sort of give their own opinions on it. Many other authors have done this before. I believe Henry Turtledove has even done this, the father of alternate history. There have been more than a few fanfictions I have read that have done this. More than a few Mass Effect fanfictions even that have fucking done this. And, again, there's nothing wrong with having excerpts from fictional books and biographies that sort of show, hey, this is what the future views the past on, or how future people view the past on. If anything, it gives it a sort of documentary feel to it, like it's a documentary. Again, we've seen that before, and it's never been bashed before. I mean, hell, War of the Worlds, the Great Martian War did it. And it was a mockumentary, for fuck's sake. Hell, even Yojo Senki did it. And it's a great anime, for fuck's sake. But, again, not everyone likes that sort of thing. They're the minority, of course, but personally, I actually do enjoy it if done right, and it's done right in this story. Now, again, I'm not trying to spoil much of the story itself, but into the 54 chapters that's going on, it actually does create this world of an alternate history, an alternate what if. What if the zombies didn't go down the route of just straight up Third Reich? They actually do play the system, they actually do the political system, and they make the Federation actually show that, yes, they themselves are actually much worse than they could have been. And here's the thing, I'm not a Federation apologist. I hate the Earth Federation with a fucking passion, because yes, the Earth Federation is a bloated, corrupt oligarchy, and just cannot defend it. I will defend the people, the men and women of White Horse Base. I will defend the men and women who fought with the Gundams, and actually fought against Zeon when it became a Third Reich, totalitarian, authoritarian state. But I cannot fault the zombies, nor the people of Zeon, for wanting to fight for freedom and liberty. Because the Earth Federation, especially during the protest after the man himself, Zeon, was assassinated by the Federation. Yes, he was assassinated by the Federation. We all know he was assassinated by the Federation. I don't give a fuck what people say. He was fucking assassinated. Char's father was a hero and a martyr.
Of course!
Honestly, again, is why I will support the Zeons. I will not, of course, defend the fact of some of the more atrocious things they did in the war, but the opening days of Zeon's independence, I will happily defend their reasoning why. There is no defending the Earth Federation. There is none. I don't care who you are. And the fanfiction points out all the problems with the Federation. The fact that, yes, they are a bloated, over-bloated oligarchy. Their military, even, which, by the way, slight spoiler, the Zeon Military, I want to kind of get into this, because this made me giggle a lot. And I know Johnny Boy 11's probably reading this after I sent him the link, and he's probably got to that part, and he's actually giggling himself. The motherfucker is actually Gihren, of course, which I will refer to as Gihren, mind you. I will not say, oh, it's a Gihren self-insert. Gihren actually uses his knowledge of the past, which of course includes advanced warfare, Halo, all that good jazz, and brings the fact that the ground forces need to be updated from its World War II aesthetic to more advanced, futuristic 21st century, or at least beyond, which, slight thing on the slight thing, this dude actually brings technology to the Gundam universe, including smartphones, the internet, YouTube, Twitter, all that stuff, social media, and actually improves the lives of the Zeon people, including the colonies, which is actually kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he could have gone further and kind of brought in loot boxes and stuff like that, like games, proper video games, things like that. But you know what, one step at a time, before we dive into the evils of loot boxes and microtransactions and things like that. But the big thing, though, is that when it came to the military, he is straight up not only improving and bringing in Gundam designs that will happen way down the line and in the future, he's also updating the ground forces, especially for preparing for Operation Odessa. The ground forces of Zeon are going to have exoskeletons and exosuits. And they look like ODSTs. And the fact that these dudes actually went toe-to-toe with a Zaku and was able to take down at least one of the motherfuckers, while inflicting casualties on them. I'm talking light casualties on their own squad, means that even if the Federation brings their own mobile suits against the Zeon ground forces, they are going to have essentially Starship Troopers level of forces. Whether or not, and when this guy returns to this, they actually start having frickin' handheld nuclear devices and start lobbing them like Liberty Prime or like the actual Starship Troopers mobile infantry, or if he even goes as far as to create the mobile infantry as a actual specialized branch of the Zeon ground forces, I don't know. I legitimately don't know. I would like to see that, honestly. It'd be kind of cool, you know, just be like, oh yeah, no, these motherfuckers have fucking football-sized nukes, and they're just lobbing them like they're candy.
What you're seeing is advanced warfare. Atlas has the single largest standing military in the world, but we answer to no country. Unlike the government, we don't keep secrets of our capabilities. We don't sell policy, we sell power. We are a superpower for hire. Power isn't just about the ability to destroy. Atlas has built infrastructures in places like Korea, Sierra Leone, Nigeria. We do in a few years what it takes governments decades to accomplish. In fact, the truth is, we're often more effective than the governments that hire us. As my son found out the hard way.
Fucking Federation forces. But then again, you know, it'd be one of those things of, maybe that's against the Geneva Convention, you know, having handheld fucking nuclear devices. But then again, the Federation has done its own questionable things, kind of bending the Geneva Convention. So you know what, Geneva Convention, Geneva suggestion. But in all seriousness, though, the story is actually really fun, and does actually dive into a lot of the zombie family. Be it, of course, from the Patriarch, to the First, to the Second, to the Third, to the Fourth, to the Fifth Born, like all the zombie family. But then, of course, it comes to the biggest thing of the new types, and addresses the new types in a very lovely way. And in a very, actually, realistic way as well, in the fact of they do expose them to the wider galaxy. And yes, much like with anything, they're actually somewhat accepted in space, they're somewhat accepted. On Earth, however, it's a different goddamn story. And that's where it kind of is a little bit, Holocausty? Well, I wouldn't say Holocausty, more like, you know, kind of, yeah. And the fact that they don't, any defector who is, of course, a new type, the fact that they don't actually publish their stories and reasoning for wanting to defect to Zeon from the Earth Federation and their witch hunts, kind of a missed opportunity, in my opinion, because, you know, information warfare, the fact of, you want people to know what's going on with the Earth Federation, why these people are defecting from the Earth Federation, make the Earth Federation actually look evil as they can be. Oh, and before I forget, the motherfucker actually has Deus Ex Machina. Well, not only Deus Ex Machina, but Deus Ex. With Adam Jensen as a Zeon spy and augment.
I never asked for this.
Yeah, no, like I said, I want to keep spoilers light as possible, but just you know, outlining characters that I actually do like and kind of have fun with. And the fact this motherfucker actually has Adam goddamn Jensen from Deus Ex makes me smile. I'm not gonna lie. I cannot wait to see more of that, honestly. The other element of the story that I actually did like was the fact of he actually is colonizing Mars. And of course the Earth Federation is sending their own token thing. And what I like about it is that the people on Mars don't see themselves as Zeon or Earth Federation. They see themselves as Martians, which could lead, of course, to elements of Infinity War from Call of Duty being used.
Today, the front embarks on a conquest. Here and now, we will eradicate the authority and influence of the Earth. Our world is just beginning. Theirs is dying. It is not enough to break free. We will break them! Their cities will burn along with the pages of their history. Mars Eternal.
You know, Settlement Defense Front, SDF. kind of a third faction being created and sort of declaring their independence from either Zeon and the Earth Federation. Just throwing that out there, throwing out that element, just throwing that out there. But in all honesty, whether or not he takes these elements and goes with them, I don't know. What I do know is that going forward, when we do finally and eventually get to the 1-year war, it's definitely going to be a lot different than from canon. We will have soldiers with exosuits acting like the mobile infantry, going in, hitting hard, pulling out, and the rest of the ground forces kind of coming in. The Earth invasion will definitely be a lot different. Probably something similar to Infinite Warfare, where they could attack during a big event during the Federation. Or, hell, actually make the Earth Federation be the ones to fire the first shot, and them be seen as the good guys, basically retaliating instead of being the aggressor. Mars, once fully developed, could once again be a faction all of itself. It could declare itself as a neutral faction, much like Space Switzerland. A armed neutrality, mind you, but in a sense, they could literally be like the United States, where they don't want to get involved. But something happens, and they do get involved, and that just gives Zeon the extra oomph needed. Or hell, like hinted in the story itself, Zeon could actually add its own little thing and kind of make it to where the Earth nations start actually seceding from the Federation, sort of a pseudo-Brexit type deal, where each one starts realizing, hey, we're getting the short end of the stick, we're getting the fuck out while we can, and create their own side of NATO, or even a sort of Asia NATO, a Europe NATO, like getting the European Union back together, getting the old gang back together type deal, and being a counter on Earth against the Federation. Legally, mind you, they do actually do a big emphasis on the legality of these sorts of things, and legally, I bet there's a clause in the Constitution, the Federation Constitution, that actually does state that, hey, they can actually exit if they want to, if they feel they're being, if they feel they don't agree with this sort of thing. Again, there's a lot in here that actually legitimately has some cool ideas and great stuff that actually can lead to some really, really cool concepts and cool storylines down the line, especially during the war. Where, like, say, a good chunk of the European nations that still have monarchies basically decide to pull the fuck out and don't agree with this, and then form their own type of political power block and economic block that's actually allied with Zabi, or the Zeons, I mean. And when the war does happen, they attack the Federation alongside Zeon, or they stay neutral, but still allow Zeon to kind of trade with them type deal. Again, there's a lot of ways this could go, and a lot of ways this can happen. But it all comes down to whether or not Kaiser Chris actually returns to this story, and whether or not he sees this review. Which, of course, brings an end to the review here. Because if I keep going any further, I'm going to spoil some things. But what I will say is that Mobile Suit Gundam Giren's Glory is actually a really interesting political story, isekai type story, honestly. And I recommend anyone actually go and check it out. And a big thanks to the guy who actually made this review possible and sponsored this review to kind of be like, hey, check this out. I did check it out. I actually did enjoy it. Thanks for suggesting it. And thanks for sponsoring this review. I do have 2 more sponsored reviews going forward, and that's just, that's going to lead down the line. One of them, of course, being
Excuse me, what?
So, yeah, if you guys want to help out with future reviews, then please consider checking out the tier list down below. Or, if you want to help out the channel, check out the links down below there as well in the pinned comment. That's how you guys help support the channel and help make things possible. From airsoft reviews, to gear reviews, to tech reviews, to even, once again, media reviews. Check them out down below. And, get some cool things in return. And if you want to read this story yourself, it's in the pinned comment down below there as well. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airsoft Al, and I shall see all you lovely, lovely people in the next video. Till next time, Zig Zeon!